Mondy,
Master Julian.
we are back. We got a lot of things to discuss on the Ahsoka pod today.
We sure do.
Season 1 has wrapped up as of this recording, which is why we're literally talking.
I'm like, okay.
I'm rusty. I'm sorry.
I
Mondy.
see. Jesus Christ. Season 1 just got done airing. Here we're doing a podcast.
Talk about it. Oh my god! Like every other fucking Star Wars. Let's do it, Mondy.
Yes, let's get started. So, full context to the listeners out here and the viewers, me and Julian both have not watched Star Wars Rebels, and we have a full understanding that this show is a continuation and a love letter of that show. However, unlike Julian, I've done my prior research, and I have a full understanding of all that transpired in Star Wars Rebels. We are still both big Star Wars fans, but for some reason, we just never got around to Rebels. Clear.
I would classify myself as a casual. So,
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's a casual. I'm a fan. I'm a real fan. Okay, I promise you guys.
Yeah.
With that being said, Julian, please give me your thoughts prior to watching Ahsoka based on the trailers, just the announcement of the series itself. What Rebels knowledge do you have, if any? And what's your just answer those two questions first.
About to say, just ask me 3 more questions so I can just answer them all. Yeah, I mean, look, the announcement of the show, I was very excited about. This was probably one of my most anticipated shows, if I remember correctly. But as we got closer to the show and I started seeing reviews about how it was just it was a love letter to the hardcores and everybody that watched Rebels or Clone Wars or whatever the fuck it is, it made me a little more disinterested, I'll be honest, because I did not watch that. I'm not going to spend my time doing research on something that I don't give a fuck about. It came into play during my viewing experience, but that's the show's fault for not explaining things or just expecting me to know, which is fine. This show was exactly what it was advertised as. This was just another season of Rebels, or the season that fans never got, I guess, live action. So I'm sure that the hardcores are super happy about that. My excitement level varied, I'll say. When it was originally announced, I was very excited. As I got closer to it, I almost wanted to skip the show, but I didn't. What do you think, Monty?
Yeah, I was super excited from the jump at the hearing of this show's conception. For some reason, though, as the show did near towards its airing, I lost interest as well. Not because because of the Rebels thing. I didn't mind that. I love doing research on my own and finding out what happened and finding out why fans of Rebels are fans of Rebels. But for some reason, maybe the trailers I saw, I'm like, I just wasn't getting impressed vibes, if that makes any sense. But I still went into it optimistic, But honestly, I want to ask you now, when it's my next question, what's your thoughts on the current state of Star Wars? Because I feel like it's been in this weird kind of mediocre place with recent Disney era Star Wars of like, nothing's bad, but there's no objectively great storytelling anymore in Star Wars. There's a lot of great fan service moments here and there, whether it be Obi-Wan, Mando, season 3. I love season 1 and 2, or Boba Fett. I just feel like Star Wars isn't in the best place. And so I was kind of maybe a little weary going to Ahsoka because of that. What are your thoughts on the current state of Star Wars right now, not including what you just saw in Ahsoka?
Well, I think that Star Wars is in a good place because they're in a good enough place to be able to put out these shows, and they're realizing that the movies that they put out recently aren't going to cut it. Just because that the movie makes $1 billion, that doesn't necessarily mean that when we look back in 20 years, people are going to give a fuck about it. Now, obviously, Disney is a company, and the company's out to make money, and that's what they did with their recent trilogy. But I think it was the right step for them to step back from that movie making idea of trying to have this big blockbuster film every 2 or 3 years and to focus on smaller content and let those characters grow. I think the best example of that is The Mandalorian with Mando and Grogu. At least starting out. I mean, the first 2 seasons of that show I thought were epic, and I want to see those 2 characters on the big screen now. Now, do I care if I ever see Boba Fett again? Do I care if I ever see Ahsoka or any character in her show? That remains to be seen. But I think Star Wars is in a good enough place for me as a casual. Now, as a hardcore who just wants nothing but Star Wars and Darth Vader, I mean, okay, sorry guys, that's not what you're getting. But as a casual viewer, I'm happy because I really enjoyed Star Wars Vision season 1, and season 2 had its moment. So
that's not canon though. So I wasn't. I love Star Wars Visions too. I wasn't including that. I was talking about canon, and also I meant from like a creative standpoint. Like, how do you feel personally about what's been coming out? Not financially, how they've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
I'm happy as a casual. I'm happy.
Okay, cool. Well, let's get into our episode breakdown. I want to get your thoughts on the episode. I'll give you a brief synopsis of each episode, and we can kind of go into it from there. Episode 1, Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati free a prisoner, now who we found out is Morgan. Ahsoka retrieves the map leading to the General Admiral Thrawn, who was thought to be at this point deceased. Ahsoka locates Sabine Wren in hopes to help her get helping her access what the map has in terms of the map. In terms of leading it to Thrawn, Jesus Christ, Sabine has an added interest in hopes of also locating Ezra. A witch of Dathomir tells Baylan's apprentice, Shin Hati, to retrieve the map from Sabine. Shin succeeds and puts a lightsaber through Sabine's chest before escaping. So, opening episode, I know the first 2 aired at the same time, but if you can recall your thoughts or what are your, and how it opened, what do you have any?
Yeah, of course. This was a great opening scene for Baylan and his apprentice Shin, which I could never remember her name. So thank you for saying it just now. This is a great opening scene for both of them. I was like, wow, like this dude Baylan is something serious. Like I was like, okay, like I fuck with this guy. Like this nigga is with the shits. Oh yeah, I mean, I guess at this point I was starting to realize that already there were things that were just flying over my head, or from a narrative standpoint, they just weren't explaining because they expected people to have seen Rebels or Clone Wars. I can never remember which
Rebels.
Rebels. Yeah. So yeah, I said that the show doesn't do the show has not done a great job of catering to casuals like myself, which honestly I appreciate. Fuck me and people like me. This is no seriously. Like I literally have this like literally fuck me and people like me. Like this shit isn't for me, and like that's totally cool. Like I'm cool enjoying it at the level that I can enjoy that. But obviously, like people like you or whoever has spent time to watch these shows over these years, and you're finally getting this. I hope that you guys like actually really love this in this episode. I have no idea why Sabine is angry at Ahsoka. No idea that Sabine was a Mandalorian. And like, why doesn't she wear her helmet? Like literally, like I'm watching these episodes. I'm just like, okay, maybe they'll talk about that. They didn't. No idea who any of these characters are, including Ezra, but cool, whatever, maybe we'll get there. We kind of did. But yeah, I mean, Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka, man, she's just fucking badass. Like in pretty much every one of these episodes, there was like a moment where I was just like, she is kind of him. Like Ahsoka is a motherfucking G. Like she like in this entire series, she was just like destroying people, which I love. And yeah, in this episode in particular, she tried to be on her master and apprentice shit with Sabine. Obviously Sabine was being a dumb bitch and she ended up dying, quote unquote. I said, I doubt she's actually dead. If Darth Maul can survive getting cut in half, she'll be fine. So yeah, what do you think, Monty, about this episode?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we know about the Mandalorian lore. Like even from the show, like not all factions of Mandalorians have to keep their helmets on. Just the sect that Den is a part of does, but not all of them do. I'd argue most don't actually.
Yeah, and I just wanted them to explain that in the show. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, like you said about Baylan Skoll, man. First of all, rest in peace to Ray Stevenson.
Yeah, sorry. Wait. I didn't know that he was dead until the finale. Like I was I didn't know like the actor who played him had passed away until I was about to watch the finale. I saw something on Twitter like, wait, what? That's so crazy. Rest in peace to Ray
Stevenson.
Yeah,
he actually played Punisher in one of the Punisher movies. I think it was Punisher Warzone. But anyway, I literally fell in love with his character from the very first moment he stepped on the screen. Something about him, like he had a charisma. I loved his outfit. I loved his composure. I loved his voice. I loved his demeanor. I just like this is this is Star Wars. Like, this is what I want, in my antagonist. And what are your thoughts on the orange lightsabers there? Like, I thought it was a good indicator that not quite Sith, but not Jedi. I like that kind of. Did you interpret it that way? Yeah.
I remember them being distinctly red, but I may be
No, they're
colorblind, so okay.
Yeah, their lightsaber is orange.
Okay, okay.
Damn, get your Vizio check.
That shit look red to me, my boy.
No, I wasn't red.
Okay.
We learned that he was a Jedi during the Clone Wars. I thought it was very cool lore there. They tried to copy the Rogue One hallway scene opening with Baylan Skoll. I was like, y'all tried it. Y'all tried it. I do like to see the maturity in Ahsoka because I did watch most of Clone Wars. And Ahsoka was just such a kid and just like, how kids are. And now seeing her more distinguished and more mature. But I might have a hot take here when it comes to Rosario Dawson's take on the character. I love the fact that she's aged and she's older and she's mature, but they sacrificed her interestingness, if that's a word, in my opinion. Yes, she's badass when it comes to all the fighting scenes, but just her as a character, I found her almost boring at times, and I thought she got outshined a lot by supporting characters in her own series. And you can be stoic and mature, but still be interesting. For example, Obi-Wan. And I attribute that to Ewan McGregor's performance in the role. He just brings that certain likability to him. And with Rosario Dawson, she certainly looks the part. Like, she looks amazing as Ahsoka, but just the way that she chose to portray the character, I sometimes felt could have been added a little bit more.
This is so interesting. This is you're literally explaining how I felt about McKinney playing Zorro in the live action, but in both of us had context
of One Piece, by the way, for the fans, One Piece.
Yeah, the live action One Piece. Yeah, so like I had all this context of Zorro. And because I love Zorro, like I saw him in the manga and the anime, I'm like, okay, this is how Zorro acts. And then when McKinney was doing this almost boring, like, yes, he's over there performance, I'm just like, bro, like what are we doing? Like Zorro's like way more than this. And what you just said basically reminded me of that because I have literally no prior context to Ahsoka except for what I've seen in Mandalorian season 2. So I thought she was great, but obviously, you have more context. So that's very interesting that you point that out.
Well, I wasn't comparing her to her. I'm not saying she should be her kid-like self that she was in Clone Wars. I'm just saying she should still mature, but you can still keep your interestingness, if that makes any sense. Anyway, also, I hate the idea of people being able to survive lightsaber stabs. I know like a lot of fans have expressed that as well online. Like, it just kind of reduces the power of a lightsaber, like same thing happened with Reva and Obi-Wan. The Darth Maul thing I can kind of let go. Like, okay, like in my mind, in my head canon, that's like, okay, that's a one in a lifetime instance, but so many times have we seen the lightsabers just stabbing somebody and they're like, oh, I'm good. Like, nigga, that shit should vaporize your internal organs. Like, that shit should be like instant death. It kind of, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I disagree. I mean, like I said, like if Darth Maul could survive what he survived, Sabine better get the fuck up. That's how I felt. And then the Reva thing, yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. Not as much as it bothers you. Seriously.
If Darth Vader kills somebody, he's supposed to be dead. Anyway, episode 2. Here's the brief synopsis. Sabine recovers. Ooh, she also traces the droids that attacked her previously to Lady Elspeth's factories on Corellia. Seeking the star map, Ahsoka and General Hera Syndulla travel to the Corellian shipyards in time to find a massive hyperdrive being built for a ship that's going to travel to Thrawn's hiding place. The hyperdrive escapes to hyperspace, and after Chopper attaches a tracking device to it. So what are your thoughts? This is when we see Ahsoka fight Marok, who is the unknown Sith at this point. What are your thoughts? Now his lightsaber was red, in case I don't know what you saw with that one. Y'all was pink or some shit? His is red.
They're all red. It's either red, blue, or green, brother. Okay.
No, but seriously, I do want you to understand though that Balin's and Shin's were orange. That was done on purpose to indicate that they're not full Sith.
In the entire series, they were orange, is what you're trying to say. The entire series.
Correct, sir. Yes. And Marok's was red. If you saw his compared to them, you'd be like, okay, that's red, that's orange. But go ahead.
Got it. Okay. Episode 2, yes, being alive. Honestly, I kind of hate the whole cheap death thing in an episode just to bring them back immediately in the next one. It's like so overdone in cinema. And like like I said, like it's almost like insulting. Like, bro, like we all know that she's okay. Like we know. Ahsoka
Right.
again in this episode, like I feel like this show did a great job of making sure that we understood who was the fucking master bitch. And every time we saw Ahsoka on the screen, one V5, 1v6, it don't matter. Like she's on their ass. And I absolutely love that. And I mean, I'm gonna shout out Rosario Dawson again for just being for being believable in these scenes, man. Because obviously she has stunt doubles and performers or whatever the case may be. And like, you know, I know that on Twitter, I believe you said something like the lightsaber duels are lame or something, but they were fine for me. I wasn't expecting like no big grand battle for it at this show at all, except maybe in the finale, but we just didn't get any of that. Sabine's Mandalorian armor, the full armor, it looked cool. Like I was like a fan of it, but honestly, it just made me miss Mando, like the real Mandalorian. We all know that I'm a Din Djarin super fan, apparently. So yeah. Balin, we got to see a little more Balin in his apprentice in this episode. Them talking about Grand Admiral Thrawn, who again I don't really know who he is. I just know he's some blue nigga that's evil and supposed to restore the Empire. Let's see. Oh yeah, it wasn't clear in this episode if he was like in another dimension or something. I thought that may be like a little weird for Star Wars to like go that way. Like, wait, we're doing like different dimensions now, but like we're not. He's in another galaxy because there's a galaxy far, far away, brother. I like Ahsoka. I like Ahsoka and Sabine's relationship so far. I'm actually like really enjoyed the master and apprentice aspect that this show like displayed between not just Sabine and Ahsoka, but obviously with Anakin and Ahsoka, or with Balin and Shin. I thought that it was something that they tried to hit on, and I thought that like they pretty much nailed it for me. Like it was great to see in each episode they did it. I thought that they were setting up a battle between Ahsoka and Balin, and I wanted it to pay off, and it didn't. But yeah, what do you think about this episode, Monty?
So I'm glad you mentioned what I tweeted about the fight choreo in this. It wasn't. I don't want grand duels in every scene. It's just that the lightsaber choreo swordsmanship just seemed a little like uninspired to me, and I just want scenes that I remember. I feel like every lightsaber duel should be that. Like that's Star Wars' foundation. Like every lightsaber duel should be at least memorable, not even grand in scale. You know what I mean? And a lot of these scenes, I feel like they're as I'm. What the fuck are you laughing? What the fuck are you laughing at?
Why are you laughing? Because bro, it sucks to be a fan of anything, and like I hate it. Like I hate it for you. Like I really do, because I feel the same way about certain things. And like anytime you're a fan of anything, you find the smallest stuff to nitpick on. Like you're really talking about, oh, every lightsaber duel needs to be memorable. Like what? Like I'm sorry, Monty. I'm so sorry for you, bro. Like I really
I'm sure every Star Wars fan would agree. Anyway, like I said, the fight choreo was it just felt uninspired. It's just like, oh, they're just clashing swords at each other, you know. Anyway, that was my clarification on that tweet. So I hate the idea of, which we, first of all, keep in mind, these are my thoughts during episode 2. I don't have full context of the whole show, of a non-force sensitive person like Sabine being able to keep up with any kind of force sensitive person.
Okay,
like
wait.
Oh,
you
God,
say
here we go.
No. I have a question. You say that you did your research and you saw Rebels or whatever. She was clearly force sensitive in the show. So did she not display any of that in prior seasons of that show?
She was never displayed as being force sensitive. Now, she did train with the Darksaber, and she's very proficient with that weapon. Now, we know even somebody like Din Djarin can't even figure out the Darksaber yet, and she figured it out in Rebels, and she's very proficient in that because she trained with Bo-Katan and Ezra's master, Kanan Jarrus. So she's very good at the Darksaber. She's wielded it before. However, I just feel like somebody who's non-force sensitive shouldn't hold a candle to even somebody like Shin, who's an apprentice. Like that diminishes the level of what being force sensitive means. You know what I'm saying? And so keep in mind, I know she's force sensitive. I know she's force sensitive now that episode 8 is over, the finale is over. But back then I'm thinking like, okay, this is not adding up here. I'm kind of pissed, to be honest. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, like you said that she shouldn't be able to hold a candle to somebody like Shin. Shin killed her in the first episode.
But yes, they were going back and forth for a good little minute though. Like I'm talking about the fight. In my head canon, the fight should be over in maybe 30 seconds.
All right.
I'm sorry. Am I being too nitpicky here?
You are, but that's okay, man.
Anyway,
Do your thing, bro.
this episode showed more Shin Hati, and I started to really like her as well, along with Balin. She's got like a presence to her that's interesting and unique. She kind of looks like a cross between Chloe Moritz. You know who she is? Chloe Moritz,
No.
the actress. You know if you've seen her. And anyway, and like maybe like a young Scarlett Johansson or something like that. I love seeing Ahsoka bust through the windows with the lightsaber. That was really cool. Like there's some really cool uses of her lightsabers, her dual lightsabers in this series as a whole. Bro, the scene when she's fighting Merrick and he calls his lightsaber back and all she does is this. I screamed. I said, "Oh, you that bitch!" Yeah. I said, "Oh, you that." I said, "Okay, Ahsoka, you're that bitch for real." Because that could have easily like. Imagine if she did that, trying to be all cool and like got her head fucking chopped off or some shit.
That was over, bitch, man.
But that was the hardest dodge I think I've ever seen in a movie. I was like, wow, or a show.
Yeah, that was dope.
I love the new Sith's design. Now, of course, like I said, I don't have context at this point, so it doesn't pay out to be shit, but I love his design. There are a lot of theories online who he could be. People were saying Cal Kestis from Jedi Fallen Order, the video game. People were saying, could it be Ezra? There were like so many fan theories about who Merrick this is, and we'll get to it when we do about who he eventually is. Which, oh my god, it's a whole nother conversation. And also, I just wanted to say that it's cool seeing lightsabers again. Like I know, like Andor, Boba Fett, Mando. I love all those shows for what they are, but let's talk. Like I said earlier, the foundation of Star Wars is that those lightsabers and those duels, and so just seeing this lightsaber combat again was so refreshing to me, and that's what makes Star Wars to me. Yeah. And at the end, of course, Ahsoka accepts Sabine as her Padawan once again. Episode 3. Sabine is now Ahsoka's Padawan. Hera gets denied help from the council. Hera's son, Jason Syndulla, is introduced. So I don't know if you know this, but he's the son of Ezra's master. And Ahsoka, Sabine, and Huyang, which is the droid, I like him a lot as well, come up on yeah, I love me a snarky droid. Come up on the hyperspace ring and are chased to a nearby planet by the evil forces of Shin Hati, Marok, and others. They see the Purgles, who are the space whales, as they descend to the planet's surface. Balin's skull and other forces also descend to the planet's surface to track Ahsoka and company. What are your thoughts on episode 3?
This was another a decent to good episode, man. I every episode they're trying to do something for like an opening before they roll the credits, and in this one they did the thing with Ahsoka and Sabine, where Ahsoka is just trying to teach her basically things that we've heard 1,000 times, like the force is all around you, like like you got to train your mind, body, and your spirit, like stuff like that. Like it's dialogue that we've heard 1,000 times in Star Wars, but it's always so refreshing when you hear it, because it kind of just brings you back to that place of like, man, like I'm watching Star Wars again. Like this is like, it's just so nostalgic, basically what I'm trying to say. And like Ahsoka again, like I feel like I'm gonna gush about her in like every single episode, but like she is clearly in her prime here. Like this isn't whatever Ahsoka you've seen in any other show. Like this isn't that person. Like this is fucking Grandmaster, like 35, 40-year-old, maybe older Ahsoka. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she's on her shit.
Get canceled. Older women can't be fighters too.
But hold on now. Then I said this episode, however, was just the typical space battle episode, which never really impressed me or moved me. Well, okay, well, let's just retract everything I said about this being a good episode. This was probably the least entertaining episode so far. But thanks to Twitter, at least I know I'll get to see Anakin next episode, so let's see if it pays off. I'm also expecting to see Ezra at some point and get her tired of them talking about him. Man, I am a mad little boy here.
I love how your notes are just like Rotten Tomato excerpts.
Yeah, they are.
Like, you talk about like full sentences, like yeah. How am I currently feeling at the moment?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Current era, you get it finally. That's it.
That's it. Okay. Are you aware that Hera is played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays? Oh, well, you never watched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, but if you've seen Sky High, she played the pacifier or whatever the villain's name was. She's been in a lot of shit. Huntress and Birds of Prey. You watch Birds of Prey?
She looked like the mom from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Okay. Well,
guy with
fun
a
fact:
leg. Sounds hot.
she's actually married to Ewan McGregor, who plays Obi-Wan in real life.
Yes, Twitter let me know about that as well. Against my
Anyway,
will.
this is the episode when I started to realize Hera in those orange pants is a great
You're
combination.
so horny. Oh my god.
I was like, hold on, wait, what? I was like, okay, yeah, that's kind of fantastic. Um, and yeah. Anyway, so the how do you feel about like the lightsaber fight or not? I guess fight with Ahsoka was outside of the spaceship fighting in space. I saw that bothered some fans. Other fans really loved it. What was your take on that?
I was already checked out by that point in the episode, and it didn't do anything to like impress me or make me hate it. It was kind of a weird choice, but again, this kind of just points to my fact that like Ahsoka's a Jedi master at this point, so she can pretty much do anything, and it wouldn't really make me like flinch. Honestly, what did you think about it?
I thought it looked cool visually, like it looked amazing, like just the contrast of the white lightsabers in space, but it was a little goofy. And this is when I kind of fault Dave Filoni, who I love Dave Filoni. We know he's been excellent on Mandalorian. He did Rebels.
Can't make mistakes. Talk about him. Shit.
Listen. I think a lot of the choices that he made in this show would have looked a lot better or translated better in an animated medium. And this is one of them. Like, if this would have happened in Rebels or Clone Wars, like, sure, well, fucking, she's fighting in space. But in live action, it just looked a little goofy. Like the laws of gravity, I know, the laws of gravity shouldn't have allowed her to be moving like that.
Okay, you're funny.
I love just the visual aesthetic of that red planet that they landed on with the red trees. That just looked like a really cool planet. They kind of also reintroduced the idea that anyone can harness the Force if you tap into it, which once again the Star Wars fandom is kind of split on. Like they feel like you kind of diminished. You got to be chosen. I'll speak on that later when we get to episode 8 because I got some fucking thoughts on that bitch. And I'm gonna need to see how that Punnett square works in terms of the biology of Hera's kid because Jason, I mean, his father, who is Kanan Jarrus, was a human. And she's a green alien with the long things, and her son is just a human with green hair. Either she was cheating and fucking on somebody else when she had that baby, or because that's not how biology works. Like the baby just wouldn't be a human with green hair; he would look like half of her and half of the father, right? Like I said, I know I'm being nitpicky, but isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
No, it's not weird.
Isn't that?
It's not weird. Not weird. It wasn't weird.
That's like me fucking a tiger and having a baby, and then my baby just has orange hair like a tiger, but it looks like a human.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
anyway, moving on. Episode 4. The episode opened. The episode opens with Ahsoka and Sabine stranded on the planet's surface. Marok and Shin Hati ambush Ahsoka and Sabine. Ahsoka kills Marok and comes up on Balin's skull. Balin defeats Ahsoka, and Sabine chooses not to destroy the map that leads to Thrawn in an effort to save her friend Ezra. Morgan, Balin, Shin, and Sabine use the hyperdrive to blast off. We're blasting off again to where the map leads them. Ahsoka wakes up in the world between worlds, which was introduced in Rebels, in between space and time, and is greeted by her old master, Anakin Skywalker. What are your thoughts on episode 4?
Man, again, like, I'm gonna start off every episode by saying the same thing about Ahsoka. She fucking dominated. I think it was 3v1 this episode, and then she murked the Black Ranger. Like, it wasn't even close. Like,
the Black Ranger.
She mopped that nigga up. I was hoping that we were gonna get the Ahsoka and Balin fight that we deserved, but we never really got it. They tried to do it here, but of course they had to give Ahsoka a handicap to give her a reason to lose so she could be greeted by Anakin. I get it, but I was hoping that this situation was going to be rectified somewhere down the line, and it just never happened, unfortunately. Sabine sucks. I mean, yeah, like at this point, I'm kind of like really sour on Sabine. Like, what is she good for? Like, what is she actually doing? It seems like almost inversely to Ahsoka. Like every episode, she's getting her ass beat, or she getting shot up 1,000 times. Like, thank God she got the Mandalorian armor. Honestly, I feel like the only reason that they gave her the Mandalorian armor, well, I clearly she's been had it, but like, they felt like some of the shots had to hit somebody, and it couldn't hit Ahsoka or Ezra or whoever because obviously they just die. So like, let's just light up Sabine. Like she's just getting her ass beaten. Like almost every single episode. I promise you, go back and look. I said, what is she actually good for? She can't fight. She can't use the force. She can't use the lightsaber. Like, Jesus Christ. She began packed up this entire series. Okay. Oh yeah. And this is another thing that I'm probably nitpicking on, but how fucking dare Balin and Shin hate on the witch when like Jedi are not that far off from what witches can do. Now we saw in the finale, there's definitely a separation, but leading up to this point, like, what the fuck were they doing that made you go, oh, she's a witch. She's a witch. Like, ma'am, like you can move things with your mind. Like what? Like, what the fuck? Like you would definitely be burning on a stake in earth too. Like don't get it twisted. This was Jedi, you know. Oh yeah, and yeah, I mean, of course, the Anakin reveal at the end with Hayden coming back. Man, it was great, man. Even though I was not watching these episodes week to week, so it was getting spoiled for me, which I didn't care. Which is funny because like I really hate spoilers, but it just didn't bother me this time. And honestly, the spoilers kind of helped in the aspect like for me to keep going. And I'm so glad that we got Hayden back. It's interesting that he was in it as much as he was. I kind of feel like they may have overused him, but whatever. That's whatever. What do you think about this episode, Monty?
So this is actually my favorite episode of the series. I thought this was just a fantastic episode. I know many people's is episode 5, which is the following episode, and I understand why. But this episode it was just great Star Wars, bro. Like I don't know, it was simple and it was effective to me. There's a great line. I just love Balin so much. I'm just gonna keep gushing over him. When Morgan tells him like, "Is that a note of fear in your voice?" He goes, "Experience." And like that's just like that's something that Jedi would fucking say, you know, or even like the opposite of a Jedi, whatever. But in this episode, they had Hu Yang was boxing in this bitch. I was like, okay, Hu Yang, throw them hands, nigga.
Yeah,
1,000 years old. Nigga, hope you got some combat experience.
He could do something.
We see Carson and his X-wing from Mando. They keep bringing Carson in like he's like the Wong of Star Wars.
Nigga just everywhere. Niggas in every series. God damn.
Once again, I gotta harken back on this fight, Corey. It's really just been bothering me. Like Ahsoka moves so slow and she fight. Like, yeah, she's a badass, but she moves so slow. Like I'm like, she's like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, bro, like even in the sequel trilogy, say what you want. A lot of those fights were just really good, man. You felt like the power of the lightsaber. Kylo Ren's lightsaber looked like it was heavy to hold, and it looked like it was so much power when he used it. And I don't know. I like a little attention to detail here. Fuck you. It was cool seeing Sabine with her Mando helmet on. I just first of all, I think Disney needs to really tap into doing a movie or a show about just the war that happened many years ago between the Mandalorians and the Jedi. That should be such a cool concept. But Sabine pulled up on Shin and just started letting that chopper sing, didn't she? She like pop, pop, no talking, no nothing. I love that. That just kind of goes to speak of how simple this episode was. Merrick's spinning blade was so dope. I know, like if you play the Star Wars games, like a lot of the Inquisitors had that kind of Jedi, that lightsaber that spins around. You can fly on it. So that's cool. Ahsoka killed that man with ease, bro. And I'm like. Happy because it showed how Ahsoka is that bitch, but kind of disappointed because like wow, we set up Merrick and they never explained what the fuck he was. Like the smoke coming out of him, like he's not a human being. Was he endowed by the witches of Dathomir maybe to be who he was? But that was such a letdown for me.
You're supposed to know, Mondy. You're supposed to know everything. You're a Star Wars fan.
Whatever. And once again, to what you've been saying, Ahsoka is that bitch, and we have to remember why. Like you didn't watch Clone Wars, obviously, or Rebels, but she's fought. Bro, she's been fighting since she was a child, first of all, and she's fought some of the toughest Sith in the galaxy and held her own and even defeated a lot of them. She fought Ventress in Clone Wars. She's fought Dooku countless times. She's fought Darth Maul, defeated Darth Maul. She's fought Darth Vader, didn't kill her old master. She didn't kill Darth Vader, but she split his helmet in half and like had him hurt. Like she's had so much, and I love how this show like didn't kind of like backtrack and like, okay, well, you know. No, like all the experience has been adding up, and now she can defeat niggas like Merrick with ease. I just love that. She's fought Dooku, Grievous. Anyway, I love seeing different. This might be kind of nerdy as well. I like seeing different lightsaber clashes that we haven't seen before. Like in this episode, we see orange versus green, which we haven't seen in Star Wars canon before. We see white versus orange. we see white versus red. And so to you, I know it was all red versus whatever, but to me,
Sure was.
I was able I was able to distinctly see the difference, and that's just kind of cool. When Sabine reached out, like she about to call the force, like with her lightsaber, I almost like jizzed myself. Like, even though I didn't want it to happen, it's just always cool seeing that move when Jedi can do that for the first time.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And the world between worlds, like I said, is a thing, like an area between space and time that was established in Rebels, and so seeing it live action was interesting, to say the least. And we can go into episode 5 now.
Okay, let's do it.
Ahsoka finds herself in the world between worlds with Anakin. He tells her old master. He tells her that he has to finish her training. She's sent to her younger body during the Clone Wars when she was Anakin's Padawan. Anakin teaches Ahsoka how to balance light and dark. She returns to the real world with a new optimism for life and her journey going forward. She goes into the Purgle's mouth, which is a space whale, and hopes to find Sabine, because Purgles or space whales can travel interdimensionally or cross galaxies, whatever. What are your thoughts on episode 5? Wow.
This was a fun episode. It did have a lot of fan service, which I know that you're not the biggest fan of, but honestly, man, I am, bitch, and I fucking love seeing Anakin or seeing Hayden. This is yeah. I think like the best thing about this episode was that they actually stopped to try to explain stuff. Like, thank you, Jesus. Like, everybody is not a diehard, hardcore Star Wars fan, and like there are casual people like me out here that want to like this show too. And this flashback between young Ahsoka and Anakin, Master Anakin, was just awesome, man. Like just seeing the different battles that they went through, seeing the things that Ahsoka went through as a child. Like you said, like she fought her entire life, like fighting wars as a child. And just seeing the relationship between the two was just great. I know a lot of Star Wars fans hate the fact that Anakin has this apprentice that nobody ever heard of, and she was never introduced and never talked about. But I think it's cool, man. I think it's a cool little side mission for Anakin. I'm happy again that Hayden is getting the flowers that he deserves, because just like we said in the Obi-Wan show, like he didn't deserve all the hate that he got 20 years ago. And I think that the love he's getting now is warranted, more than warranted. The de-aging thing, it didn't bother me. I mean, they had to do it because he's not 20 anymore. He's fucking 40, 45, however old he is. So they had to do it. It didn't bother me. I know a lot of people were shitting on that. But anyway, that flash of Anakin and Vader, and then
my god,
what,
one of the best Star Wars shots of all time,
bro,
in my opinion.
That shit, like, I was spoiled on a lot of things about this series, but this somehow didn't. And when I saw it, like, I was just like, wait, what the fuck? Like, that was a great choice. It's so crazy, like how easy it is to get niggas excited. Like,
it's like the X-Men thing with Marvel.
Like, exactly. Like it's just like it was nothing but we were like,
does she have an X gene?
Right. I think you're a mutant. Damn, nigga, my camera's going crazy right now. It's trying to track me. I gotta stop moving. But anyway, yeah. This was a great episode, man. This is a great episode. I want more. Like, I want more young Anakin with Ahsoka. I want more Jedi Master Anakin. Like, this is something that we never really got. I guess we did in Clone Wars or whatever, but I'm not watching that bullshit. So I want live action. I want Hayden back. And I want the young actress here that was playing Anakin. The rest of the episode was cool. These random flying whales can move through space and time, huh? Cool.
I didn't say space and time, bitch. Just space.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Mondy, you go ahead while my camera tries to adjust. Jesus Christ, my camera's it's literally crying for help right now.
Yeah, you're like a serial killer on the other side of it. like the fucking Riddler in the Batman or something. But
I'm taking over the airwaves. All right, stop moving. There I am.
He's back. So this is the episode that came out in theaters, for context, and I was I tried to watch it in Atlanta, but for some reason it did not come to Atlanta. It had all the other major markets. It wasn't showing in theaters, but Atlanta always gets skipped on a lot of this shit. But anyway, I'm glad I didn't watch this in theaters. I'll say that I thought it was a good episode. And then as soon as we got out out of the world between worlds and we're back onto the real world. Like, okay, I could have watched this at home, because I wish they would have spent just the entire episode, like you said, like that was so great seeing interaction between Anakin and Ahsoka when they were younger. They name dropped Senator Organa, and this I'm like, about time. Like I'm like, bro, if Thrawn this big threat that y'all say he is, like, nigga, where's your Team USA with LeBron, Steph, KD? Like, we need Luke, Han Solo, Lando. Like, give me the A squad. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so we're playing with the fucking team with fucking Austin Reeves and Ant. I mean, they're all good, but it's time for LeBron and Curry to step in, nigga. Give me prime Luke, bitch, for Thrawn. Anyway,
okay.
I'm sure Filoni's saving that for the movie he's making. But anyway. I loved Anakin's fighting style. Like, I know people, it's so funny how like things can change with time. Like, people used to shit on the spinning and people be like, oh, it looks so choreographed. Like, but now people like, they yearn for that kind of lightsaber dueling. And when Anakin did, like, when he was training, he did a little spin. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
it's
Anakin's
just
fighting style.
Like Obi-Wan's little battle pose.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's like the same shit. Yeah.
And that's why I think we kind of need George Lucas back, bro. Like, I mean, he'll never come back. He's a fucking billionaire, but he just did little things with Star Wars that just showed that he everybody was so individualistic, and that's one of the things that kind of separated Hayden and Anakin or whatever. Like you said, I'm so glad Hayden's getting the shine he deserves. The de-aging tech actually looked pretty good to me. In episode 4, actually looked kind of weird. It looked weird in episode 4, but episode 5 they got it. I guess they got it down pat. It looked really good to me. Seeing Anakin with those Sith eyes, it just turns me on. I mean, turns me up.
Wow.
It turns me up. Like,
Jesus.
It brings me back to episode 3, bro. Like, okay, I'm gonna just gush over episode 3 now. Like,
go ahead, please.
That scene in episode 3 when he's on that planet, the love, Star Wars fans are gonna kill me. I'm blanking on the planet. Starts with an M. When he's on that planet and he's just looking over. Shut the fuck up. And he's just looking over the pier or whatever, and those eyes are just those Sith eyes. You see all that pain behind them. Like, I always thought Hayden's performance was amazing. I don't care what nobody say. You can date me on that. I promise you. And that just kind of brought me back to those feels when he's just looking with those Sith eyes, those yellow fucking eyes. I love that. And so, like I said, I just needed more of that, bro. And just seeing how young Ahsoka was, like, in the animation, you don't really get an idea of how young she is. Like, she's like a teenager, obviously, but like she was like fucking like 12 years old right here. And played brilliantly by the girl who played young Gamora in Infinity War, and she played in the Barbie movie, the young girl in the Barbie movie. So her name is Ariana Greenblatt. She's a very talented young actress, and so I thought she did a better job of Ahsoka than Rosario Dawson, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I enjoyed episode 5 as well. There's a lot of good stuff here.
Got it.
Like you said, that Vader I have to mention that Vader transition shot is just one of the best shots in Star Wars. Like, I'm gonna retweet it every time I see it on my timeline now. Episode 6, Morgan, Baylan, Shin, and Sabine arrive in the other galaxy and are greeted by the Night Sisters. Do you know who the Night Sisters are? Just
no clue.
So they were introduced in Clone Wars. They are essentially like you said, witches. They use the Force as well, but in a different way. So that is the Force that they're using when they're doing all that magical shit. And they help to, like, bring up like Darth Maul and shit like that and hit people from his race. So they have a big kind of stamp on Star Wars lore. Admiral Thrawn arrives finally and allows Sabine to try and find Ezra, but tells her that they will be stranded in this galaxy. Baylan and Shin follow her secretly. Sabine finds some small snail turtle-like aliens who lead her to her long-lost Jedi friend, Ezra Bridger. Thrawn is warned of Ahsoka's arrival by the witches. What are your thoughts on episode 6, their first time in this new galaxy?
It's unfortunate because, this is pretty much what this entire season was kind of building up towards. But to me, this is kind of like the beginning of the kind of problem that I have with this show. But, obviously, again, I'm coming from a casual standpoint. I have no idea who Thrawn is. Like I said, like the only thing I know about him is that he's blue. So seeing him for the first time, it was a little lackluster, a little underwhelming. Same thing for seeing Ezra for the first time. I mean, both things kind of just happened. There was no real, pomp or circumstance behind it. And I kind of wanted it to be more special in both occasions. Like, we've been talking about both of these guys throughout the entire show, and both of them kind of just showed up and was like, hey, I'm here now. Yeah. So cool, whatever. Stylistic choice, I guess. Apparently the voice actor who does Thrawn in Rebels actually played him live action, which was cool. He did have a really great voice, which is the first thing I noted about him. But a lot of fans did not like that he played him for some reason. They were calling him fat and out of shape or whatever. I thought that was funny. But okay, whatever.
My Thrawn gonna have a 6-pack,
right? Where's Zaddy? Like, where is he? He's not giving. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I mean, the rest of these episodes kind of just felt like set up for what I thought we were going to get in the finale. We have all the major players here, aside from Ahsoka, who's on the way. Balin and Shin are out there doing whatever the fuck they're doing. We're getting these powerful scenes between the two where she's kind of like questioning, like, what the fuck are we actually doing here? And he's doing everything but telling her the answer. He's like, look, bitch, trust in yourself and the answers will come. Like, don't be hasty to victory. That's how you'll lead to defeat. Like, cool quotes, bro, but can you give me an answer? Like, seriously, like, can you give me an answer? Like, what are we doing out here?
Nigga,
like,
Jedi, all Jedi speak in riddles. Like, especially like the Grandmaster Jedis, like Qui-Gon, Yoda, they all speak in riddles. They have to.
Anyway, and yeah, like I'm still a little confused about why Thrawn is even here. Like, I'm guessing this happened in Rebels off screen. I mean, I'm guessing this happened in Rebels where he's like trapped in another, or it's in not a dimension. He's in a new galaxy.
So the series ended with like the finale of the show was him and Ezra fighting, and they got trapped by those space whales or whatever, like inside of one, I guess, like their spaceship did, and they blasted off into another galaxy, and so that was interpreted to the audience as them possibly dying. But we didn't know what happened, and so that's how the whole series ended. Like, we thought Ezra died at the end of Rebels or whatever, and Thrawn.
Okay, cool. Sabine, she still sucks. She's still getting her ass beat every episode. Like, I literally put, like, she really needs a win here soon. I'm gonna like consider her fodder from now on. This episode it was fine, but like I felt like they could have put more pizzazz around the entrance of these two characters that we have not seen. And I'm sure fans of Rebels have been dying to see, but maybe that's just my casual opinion. What do you think about this episode, Monty?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting how Hu Yang started off with a story that takes place in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That was very meta of Star Wars. Did that bother you? Was that too meta, or did you think that was cool?
I thought it was cool. Didn't bother me at all.
I thought it was cool as well. But there are huge
about the when she was like, you want to talk about episode 1, 2, or 3? We both know episode 1's the best. I thought it was cool. Wink, wink, nod.
Oh, nod. Hold on, wait. That was a wait. That was a callback to episode. That was really like a meta callback.
To me, it was. That's how I interpreted it. Yeah.
Episode 3 is the best. Anyway,
well, I think they meant the original trilogy. I think they meant a new
no.
But
most people would argue Empire is the best.
Yeah, I think 1's the best too. But whatever.
Anyway, but this is huge implications for Star Wars. Like, the fact that everything that we've seen up until now has took place in this one galaxy, and now that you're introducing new galaxies, which makes sense. I mean, it's fucking space. So many other stories can unravel now, and that could be the way out for having to not deal with the implications of what happens with the sequel trilogy. And so I think this is what Dave Filoni, he might be a genius now, because this might be the way to show these fans what they want to see with Ezra, Ahsoka, Thrawn, and like how does all this happen and Rey and Kylo not have anything to do with this, So this could explain what happens with Grogu, and everything. Like, this could be the way out for Star Wars to avoid having to strictly be on that timeline of the sequel trilogy, in my opinion. So everything happens in a whole new galaxy.
So, like, that wouldn't anger you at all? That's not like a cheap as fuck way of answering these questions?
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't anger me. Only because I'm not a fan of the sequel trilogy. I like certain parts of it and certain people in it. Anyway, yeah, I think that's kind of a genius way that that could happen. Unlike you, though, I did think Thrawn had an instant presence. I didn't think it was underwhelming at all. Now, Ezra's introduction was very underwhelming, but Thrawn, I thought he had an instant presence to him. I love the red glowing eyes. I love the voice work there, like you said. And so I was very drawn to Thrawn. When I first, he was very creepy. The Witches of Dathomir, like I said earlier, the magic is just another interpretation of the Force. and how they wield it or whatever. I think that's pretty cool. As somebody who watched Clone Wars, I was able to be like, okay, I remember them. That's a nice little callback there. What are your so you mentioned that you think Sabine is like kind of like fodder at this point. I like Sabine. I like her. Yes, she makes some questionable decisions, but I like her character. Like the internet hates Sabine, by the way. So I've been seeing like so many narratives about how she just subtracts from the show. She's annoying. She's selfish. Yes, she might be all, but just because you're all those things doesn't mean you're a bad character to me. It just means you're human, which I think Star Wars could use more of, having human. When I say human, I don't mean actual human, like having human-like characteristics in their characters. And yes, I think she's cute, so I might be biased, but I mean, I like Sabine, honestly. But at this point, you say you don't like her, so are you on the fence about her? You think you said Ezra was way too fucking easy to find. Like Thrawn, you're supposed to be this master tactician, strategist. Your ass couldn't find us. It was in the camp down the street with these little snail niggas.
Down the street. This nigga could have gotten in the car and just rode somewhere. He would have found him eventually. Like
he could have been driving by me like, no, he could have been driving by like, Ezra.
Is that you, player? No, like for real. Like, damn. Yeah. But look,
Ezra was not.
It's a TV show on Disney Plus. Whatever. Get to it.
Many fans had issues. Rebels had fans with issues with how when they first met each other, because Ezra and Sabine posted this big moment, and it was kind of just like, oh, hey, what's up? Hey,
that's what I said. Like it was so lackluster. Like literally, he just appeared. He was just like, "Hey, I'm alive."
That I kind of agree with. Many fans also wanted Mina Masood from Aladdin to play. Apparently he captures the essence of the character. And like I said, I didn't watch Rebels, but I had the spark notes, as Cam Newton would say, on what happened. But this new guy, he was okay, I guess, for what he brought to the table. But yeah, that's episode 5 or episode 6, should I say? Good. Episode 7. Leia finally got some Leia action here. Leia sends C-3PO to vouch for General Hera, as Hera warns the Council of Thrawn's impending doom. Thrawn's forces chase Ahsoka down to the planet where Sabine and Ezra are. Ahsoka and Baylan fight again, while Sabine and Ezra fight Shin. Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka finally reunite at the end. What are your thoughts on this episode 7?
This nigga said, a mere droid. CB3 was like, who the fuck you talking to, bitch? Like,
I was in the OG trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and the sequel trilogy, motherfucker.
Like, nigga, you put some respect on my dad, nigga. That shit had me dying. Like,
hey, and then Chopper was like, hold on, nigga.
Yeah.
Who you calling droid, nigga?
Chopper was in the back. Like,
Chopper was like, hey, hold on, bitch.
Hey. Nah, this little Chinese nigga was like, just a mere droid. Nigga 3PO was like,
this little Chinese
nigga, like, nigga, I'm him actually, bitch. Another like geek out moment, like, oh my god, it's C-3PO. I know that voice. Oh my god. Oh. Yeah. And then again, where he's like, yeah, bitch, General Leia Organa, bitch, said da 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 da. I was like, you're fucking right, she did. So clear something up for me. Sabine and Ezra have met Thrawn. They've fought Thrawn, but somehow Ahsoka has not.
Correct, because in the earlier seasons of Rebels, when she fought Darth Vader, we thought that Vader killed her. However, we learned, so basically she's not in Rebels after like the first 2 or 3 seasons, or 2 seasons or whatever.
And Thrawn doesn't get introduced until after she's gone.
Something like that. We thought, but and then in the final season of Rebels, we find out Ezra goes to the world between worlds, like we saw with Anakin, and he pulls. Like, I don't know if you remember Jake talking about this. Like, there's time travel on Star Wars. He pulls Ahsoka out of the fight between her and Darth Vader and brings her to the present. I know it sounds crazy, but it's some shit you can only pull off in animation, to be honest. Okay. But that's why Ahsoka has not met Thrawn.
Okay. Oh my fucking god. Let's see. Episode 7 out of 8. Yeah, I kind of expected things to get moving, and I'm not sure why. Like every one of these Disney Plus series are so formulaic in that they're going to make you wait until the finale. Like they're absolutely going to make you wait. But even in the finale, like nothing really happened, which was just like it's disappointing. Anyway, I wanted Ahsoka to defeat somebody in this episode, but this was just a reunion. You know, everybody's like, "Hey, Ahsoka, you're here." Ahsoka had a bullshit 5-second fight against Baylan, And then she dipped on his ass, and then he was like, all right, bitch, good. It's time to begin my journey to wherever the fuck I'm about to go, which we still literally have no idea what he's about to do.
And we never will. Rest in peace.
Yeah, we never will for Ray Stevenson. It really sucks. Unless they just recast him, we'll still probably end up doing, unfortunately.
Or you could do some animated stuff with him, which I'd be here for.
It seems like they have a lot to do in the finale. Yeah, that's never really a good thing. Yep. Cool to hear Leia's name thrown around. Yep. Sabine was getting that work again in this episode. Oh my god. Oh my god. This shit made me laugh out loud. All right, so Sabine and Ezra are fighting everybody, and she's like, "Here you go, bro. Here's your lightsaber. Like, you know, I know you need it. I know it's been a while, but I know you need it." He's like, "Bitch, the Force is my weapon." And then this nigga instantly picks up a gun. He's like, wait a minute, bro. Like, what? Like, just take the lightsaber. Like, you don't need to do this.
I'll take the chopper.
Right? Yeah. This nigga said, "Fuck a lightsaber, nigga. Give me that motherfucking Glock." But look, it was. I mean, instantly, Ezra came off as somebody that's been here before when it comes to being a Jedi and dabbling in the Force. Like, he was way more proficient than Sabine ever was. And like I think he showed when he stopped when he stopped Shin's lightsaber with his bare hands. Like, oh shit,
dope.
It was cool, man. But yeah, then he just picked up a gun. Yeah. Anyway, what do you think about this this episode, Monty?
By far the worst episode of the series, in my opinion. This episode was absolutely horrible, especially like being the episode before the finale. Like you said, with MCU shows, Star Wars, Disney Plus shows, they like to save everything for the finale, and you can never tie that many strings.
Yep.
But this episode was like this is the last episode before the finale. This is like it just felt so underwhelming in my opinion. Well, going back to the beginning of the episode, they referenced Moff Gideon's attack on Mandalore, which I thought was really cool. Like that just kind of ties those two shows together. Because we do know that Dave Filoni is planning on doing a movie with bringing all the universes together, having Boba Fett, Mandoverse, and Ahsokaverse into one movie with Thrawn being the big bad. And so that's kind of cool.
That's news to
like
me.
you said,
okay, let's go, baby. I'm ready for that. Yeah, that's news to me.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I thought you knew that.
No.
Like you said, it was so. I was geeking out over seeing C-3PO, his little gay ass. I love seeing C-3PO. Seeing the space whales exit and enter hyperspace was really cool. Like it's just like these whales can go into hyperspace with their little tails and they.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why that's so cool to see. Once again, I have another Balin quote. He has so many just fucking bars in this show. He goes, "Impatience for victory will guarantee defeat." Just what a great line. And just the way he says it, just more gravitas. Ezra fighting with the Force was hilarious. I mean, Star Wars is just leaning to the fact now that they have telekinesis, which they do, and they honestly need to use it more. Like if I had telekinesis, I'd be using like fuck a lightsaber, bitch. You know what I'm saying? I've always wondered why Jedi don't use more telekinesis or the Force, should I say? The memes of Thrawn when he learned that Anakin was Ahsoka's master was hilarious. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter or not. He's like, "Who's like? Oh wait, hold on, who's our master?" That nigga said, "Oh shit." That nigga said, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble. I'm in danger." Yeah. I highly advise anyone who hasn't seen the memes of Thrawn's reaction to Anakin's name drop is pretty hilarious. It was cool seeing Sabine use her little Beskar. I know you mentioned that earlier. To block Shin's lightsaber this time, which many people forget. Beskar. That's why the Mandalorians were able to keep up with the Jedi back in the day, because that Beskar can block lightsaber. Why the fuck did Ahsoka just let Shin go away like that? Like that shit pissed me off. Like I know she's enlightened now. But nigga, episode 2, Ahsoka would have fucking killed her ass. But because she had to go through that whole little spiritual journey with Anakin, now she's like, "Oh, go away, be free." And once again, this is my theory. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, to me, it came off as Ahsoka wanted Shin to make a choice.
Yeah.
So, and then she made the choice that she made, and Ahsoka was like, "Okay, well, if I see you again, bitch, it's on sight." But to me, in that moment, she wanted Shin to make a choice to choose what path you're going to follow. That's how I interpret it.
As my nigga Palpatine would say, "Do it, nigga. Fucking destroy her, nigga." Episode 3, Anakin would have had her ass on a fucking stick, nigga. Anyway, But my theory is that they're setting up Shin, and they probably were setting up Balin as well. Rest in peace once again, to be the villains in this new galaxy that didn't have to do anything with the First Order or the main galaxy timeline that we know of. And I have a question for you. What would be your thoughts on just an entire episode dedicated to Balin and Shin's backstory, like him coming up from the Jedi Order, transitioning into this new mindset, finding Shin? Like, do you think? I mean, I think that would be so cool. I want to see it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's literally in my closing thoughts. Like, I want more of Ray Stevenson's Balin Skull, which obviously we cannot get. I mean, his apprentice could be there too, I guess, but more so Balin needs to be the focus. And honestly, I think because he was so good, I think they're going to end up recasting him, and hopefully whoever steps into those boots in season 2 or whatever film we're getting, hopefully he can have the gravitas or the presence that Ray Stevenson had, because he was fucking awesome, man. He really was. And I would absolutely love to see more of them in their backstory for sure.
Yeah, man. I'd honestly wish this series was about Balin, bro, and Shin, or just Balin. Like, he was that good to me. Ray Stevenson, every time he was on screen, I was like, this is Star Wars. It just felt like old Star Wars. Anyway, the finale. The Night Sisters gift Morgan with seemingly more power and a special sword. But that scene reminded me such of like a Power Rangers like type plot. Like, we're gonna give you some power now. You're gonna grow big and be strong. Anyway, Ezra constructs a new lightsaber with the help of Hu Yang, who drops some knowledge on his ass. Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra penetrate Thrawn's station after he sends his forces after them. Ahsoka fights and defeats Morgan. Ezra escapes on Thrawn's vessel back to the main galaxy. Ahsoka and Sabine are left stranded in a new galaxy. Anakin's Force Ghost is seen looking over his former Padawan and her apprentice. Pretty cool moment. What are your thoughts on the finale?
Yeah, this finale was god awful in my opinion. I think this was by far the worst episode. But that's just because nothing really happened, man. Like, I was so disappointed. There was no resolution to really anything, and I guess they're saving everything for either this movie you're talking about or for season 2 of Ahsoka, whatever we're gonna get. But like, essentially, Ahsoka and Ezra just traded places. Okay. We really got no resolution between Thrawn, like the good guys and the bad guys. Like, there's just nothing there. I will say it was awesome seeing Ahsoka beat Morgan's ass again. Like, straight packed her up. Like, I mean, it was tight for a little bit, while it was 100 against 1. But then, like, as the fucking zombies started to dwindle, Ahsoka was like, all right, bitch, it's time to end this. And like, she packed her up, like she took her sword and sliced her across. Like, that shit was dope. Oh my gosh. So in episodes 6, 7, and 8, most of what Grand Admiral Thrawn is doing is just giving orders and like having terrible results. Like, it was to the point where like no, seriously, like, it was to the point where like I literally started to keep a tally. Like, in this episode, he was like, rain hellfire on them. And like, these niggas ran a mile. They missed every shot. There's like 100 lasers firing at 2 people. They missed every single shot. And then like they get inside and he's like, send the drones and the men. Okay, so all right, them niggas get packed up, and then he tells the witches, revive them. They get packed up again, and then he tells Morgan, stay here. I need more time. She gets packed the fuck up. I was like, God damn, nigga, like, can you give a good order? Like, please. But I look, obviously, the only thing Thrawn cares about is getting back to the main galaxy or whatever. So I get it, but this nigga is a terrible leader. Yeah, basically, this is just me being disappointed about that there was like no resolution. Balin again. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, are we ever going to find out? I don't know.
I think he's just on a walk. I think just walking around.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Shane is going to conquer that tribe. So okay, good for you. Ahsoka and Sabine finally got a W against those zombie Beskar wearing stormtroopers, whatever the fuck they were. She finally used the Force to help. So cool. It was cool doing the little Force jump too, like the whole you shoot me, then I'll catch you and shoot you. That was cool. And then, yeah, I mean, seeing Hayden again as a Force Ghost was cool. again, I kind of feel like they overuse Hayden, if I'm being completely honest, but whatever. And yeah, like my final thought, man, is like it feels kind of weird to like leave the season like this. Like I just watched an entire season of these characters, and sure, I know a little more about them, but the fact that there was pretty much no resolution kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And so, yeah, what do you think about the finale?
Yeah, man, lackluster, man. I agree. I was disappointed. Well, I'll call some notes I have on the episode. Seeing Ahsoka and Ezra struggle to lift that little ship made me just realize how powerful characters like Rey, when she did the whole thing, or even like Darth Vader when he did in an Obi-Wan series, like it's levels to this Force shit,
It's levels, my boy. Levels.
It's levels, and I love that Star Wars is able to keep those tiers very clear. As powerful as Ahsoka is, I cannot read at this point. I can't read Sabine and Ezra like relationship. Like, are they just friends? Is something more there?
Okay, so
the show,
again, I thought that this was just one of those things that I was missing because I never saw Rebels. But I was just like, are they fucking? Are they brother and sister?
Yeah.
Are they like seriously? Like I didn't know, but I was just like, you know what? That's what I get for not watching Rebels. But hearing that you don't know just makes me mad. Like, what the fuck? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. If I'm Ezra and I see a woman for the first time and God, how long? Bitch, you better get this fucking tent.
Whoa!
Consent, consensually, of course.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Shot for a shot. What up?
Oh my god, you're nuts! You're nuts.
I am. We got stormtrooper zombies. Like I said, this is another thing to me that Dave Filoni probably would have been executed better in animation. I mean, it wasn't bad at all. I thought it was kind of cool, but like, it's just some things I just think that his mind thinks in like an animated mode, if that makes any sense. I was so pissed off. Keep in mind, this is before I found out that Sabine could use the Force, that she was able to deflect those blasters with her lightsaber. Because that's something that, and once again, in my head canon, Jedi are able to do that because they can move so fast. Their reflexes are so good. They're such in tune with the Force that they can deflect like a gunshot or a blaster. There's no reason in hell Sabine should be able to deflect multiple blasters from stormtroopers. I don't care how skilled you are as a fighter. But then, of course, we learned that she does have the Force, and they've been teasing it all season. I think it would have been really cool that she just never had it. You know, I don't like the idea of her having the Force, to be honest, but it does explain a lot as to why things happen, like how she was able to keep up with Shin multiple times. You know, she was getting, as you say, packed up. She's able to keep up with her, at least never like, you know, died for real. How she's able to deflect blasters with her, like, it does explain that. And so I kind of don't like the fact that she has the Force, but like, it's like, oh, if you just believe hard enough, you can have the Force. Like, no, bitch, that's not how it fucking works. You're born with the fucking midichlorians or you're not. I was so upset that Ben and Shin got pushed to the side. Baylan and Shin got pushed to the side for this episode. Like, they're the best parts of the series, and you give them 5 minutes of screen time in the finale, and you got Ahsoka fighting a fucking old ass bitch named Morgan. Okay. Ezra coming out at the very end with the stormtrooper helmet on to surprise Hera. Like, nigga, your goofy ass should have got fucking shot up as soon as you exited that thing. Like, your ass trying to be dramatic and shit, nigga. They should have blasted on your ass as soon as they saw that stormtrooper, but I get it. It's for effect. Overall, like you, I agree. It was very cool seeing Hayden at the end. I do have a counter argument to you saying that he was used too much. He is very important to Ahsoka's story. The fact that he was her master, and if you watch Clone Wars, they're in it every episode. Like they're bonding, they're interacting, and so I think he was used appropriately just because of how much he means to Ahsoka's story and vice versa. But what are your thoughts on just an overall show, I guess, now?
Overall, man, you know, I know these last 3 episodes aren't a reflection of what I'm about to say, but overall, I did actually enjoy the show for what it is. I don't think that the show is amazing, and honestly, I don't think that the show is even for me, a casual viewer, but I was able to enjoy it to an extent. I think that like, especially after I see season 2 or whatever movie, and they're able to wrap up some plot threads, I'll be able to come back to this and be like, okay, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought, or maybe this makes more sense to me. You know what I mean? So overall, I do think that this was a good show. I gave it a B. I think that there were a lot of good set pieces. lot of great displays of power, whether it be from Balin or Ahsoka or Shin or even the bitch at the end, Morgan, with her little sword. And I thought that it introduced me personally to like a lot of new places and a lot of new people. Maybe I didn't get everything that I wanted, but I still was able to have some level of enjoyment. Maybe not as much as I thought when the show was originally announced, but I still think that this is a good show, and I think that it's worth the watch. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Overall, I don't think it's a bad show at all either. I gave it a C plus. I think it's teetering on that line of being a good show, but I cannot say this is a good show to somebody just because of the things I announced earlier. I just think that Star Wars has been playing in this realm of just making safe stuff, with great fan service, kind of abandoning great storytelling. And like I've expressed this many times on the channel before, but like the problem with these shows having these multiple seasons set up is that they don't focus on telling an A to B story. I felt the same way about One Piece to an extent. And so I agree with you. If the ending felt very loose ended, and you can still have the crumbs there for whatever's going to happen next by still telling a complete story from A to B. I thought this show failed to do that. I think Dave Filoni, I think he's great for Star Wars. As I said earlier, I want him to stay on the Star Wars team forever. But he just needs to get his feet a little bit more wet when it comes to transitioning from from animation to live action, because a lot of this shit just looked goofy or just didn't really translate all the way for me. And overall, man, I think it's the same level as Mandalorian season 3. If I'm being honest, I gave those seasons both C pluses.
Okay.
I mean, it's just my opinion,
Yep.
I'm wondering if I'm in the minority here. I hate being a negative Nancy. Like I said, it's not bad at all. Like there was honestly some great moments I always remember forever from this show. Like Ahsoka dodging the lightsaber, Anakin turning into Darth Vader, like just a lot of great shit. But just overall from just a to B standpoint, I have to give it a C plus. So yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I'm interested to hear what like a hardcore who spent time watching all those shows and then got to see this. I'm interested to hear what somebody like that thinks. So if you're one of those guys and you're watching this, comment down below and let me know.
Or girls.
Yeah, guys or girls. I mean, guys is just universal. Like, okay, if we want to put a fucking limit on it, guys and gals, comment down below. Let me know. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, is that it, Monty? Are you done?
I'm done.
You're done? All right, Monty. Thank you, man. Thanks, guys. This nigga.